Hello, everybody. This is Ana and Bryan from a wearable podcast, and today we have our next guest for XR episode, Ivan Isakov, who is the CEO of Valkyrie Industries. Hi, Ivan. How are you?
Hello.
It's a pleasure to have you here, and thanks for joining us. You just both of us like a little bit
Glad to
busy
be
here
here.
and there, but um, maybe for yeah,
Finally.
finally we managed to maybe for our listeners who like seeing you the first time, can you give a quick introduction to yourself and
Of
your
course.
background so they know your
So
story?
I'm the CEO and founder of Valkyrie Industries. We build neuromuscular haptic devices and experiences for immersive environments, immersive and digital environments. So I myself, I did PhD and science, did some work at Imperial College London on wearable electronics before starting the company. And company started 9 years ago in 2017, a while back in early days of virtual reality. We were building devices that allowed people to touch objects in virtual reality in a realistic way. So one of the questions that we were trying to answer specifically was the question of weight in virtual reality, how to try to replicate the weight in VR. And we're using electrical muscle stimulation combined with the back end, with physical models and with virtual reality to give you the sensations of weight. This is not fully realistic, not 100%, but it gives you some very interesting and visceral feeling that allows you to experience sensations of resistance, sensations of impact, or of weight as well. We're working in different fields. So we started in industrial training, then we moved into fitness, and now we are mainly focusing on recovery and rehabilitation, specifically in neurological recovery and rehabilitation. So stroke, spinal cord injury, multiple sclerosis, and similar. We have a hardware, we have a neuromuscular stimulation devices, and we have a lot of software bits on top of that that allow people to interact with those devices and to get value. Either you're a clinician or you're a patient or you're someone just to want to do fitness at home. We have several softwares.
And yeah, I think, what you're doing is very much at the sort of frontier of technology. It's very sort of groundbreaking stuff. But like, I'm also curious, what was your maybe inspiration to get into this field? Like, how did you always know that you wanted to get into sort of wearables and haptics, or was this just something you kind of stumbled into as you, I guess, progress in your studies?
Things stumble upon. I was doing a lot of microfabrication and research in nanotechnology and thin films, which was very usually far away from humans. So I was in a labs with ultra high vacuum systems, giant stainless steel machines where you don't have any natural light, and so you work with those machines for hours and hours trying to grow perfect crystalline thin films that can be used for semiconductor industry. Um, then this somehow moved into more flexible electronics, where you do the same thing but on flexible substrates. Like the phones that flip. This is essentially flexible electronics, but I still wanted to kind of get closer to humans and interact with the human body. I like physicality of human body. I like embodiment a lot. I practiced physical theater some time ago. I do a lot of fitness, so I like the body as on its own, and I liked electronics and microfabrication that I was working on. So I wanted to combine them, and in 2017, I went through the incubator, or it's called Venture Builder program called Deep Science Ventures, which were collecting a lot of scientists in one room, 30 scientists in one room, from geneticists to ML scientists to physicists to designers. And they were kind of in one melting pot trying to cross pollinate and create ideas that can, in principle, change the world. And I found a co-founder there who was a designer from RCA, and we decided to work on something that will connect my expertise in electronics, his experience in wearables, and combine it into something that we can work together and we're both excited about. And through exploration of industry, the VR was growing at that time, and we understood that, well, VR has so much potential, or XR as we call it right now, or spatial computing, whatever. Something that was missing is the feeling of touch and this visceral feeling of presence in the world where your body is actually interacting with the objects. So we thought this is important task to solve. Let's try to solve it.
But maybe can we dive a bit deeper what you're currently doing, and maybe can you explain how does it actually work? So even like recovery from the stroke, how does it help? How so people can imagine it, and as well like for fitness, it's kind of like understandable with like weights and everything. But I think more in terms of like related to I remember on your LinkedIn, there was something about like NHS and like you won some in
Yeah, of
the
course.
UK as well. So which is
Yeah,
usually quite tricky.
that's a long story. So we went
So well
through
done on
many
that.
different iterations of the company, and the last one is specifically medical, which is very, very rewarding and very exciting at the same time. So people not really familiar with the neuromuscular electrical stimulation, it's the maybe people have seen the abs machines that people used to buy in 2010s that you put on your abs, and it stimulates, runs electrical current through your abs and kind of tries to strengthen your muscles. These devices actually work. You just need to have a very high level of intensity, and it's uncomfortable, but it stimulates your muscles, and your muscles actually grow. So this technology been there for a while, and in addition to the fact that muscles can grow while you stimulate them, muscles actually activate. So when you run current through a muscle, when you just want to move the muscle, when you send signal from your brain, you're essentially sending an electrical signal to your muscle, and muscle contracts. Same thing you can do from the outside. So you put electrodes on your skin, you run current through your muscle, and your muscle contracts. So when your muscle contracts, your limb can move, so your hand can move. For people suffering from neurological conditions such as I mentioned, stroke, spinal cord injury, MS, cerebral palsy, or a lot of others, they cannot move one part of their body. For example, they have a broken connection between the brain, the motor cortex, and the hand movement. And so they cannot really, even if they think they wanted to a lot, they cannot really move their hand. Their hand, for example, feels like it's 100 kilograms. It weighs 100 kilograms. But what they need to do is they need to practice a lot. They still have to do the small movements every time, every day for an hour in order to gain back this ability of moving their hand. One of ways of doing that is stimulating the hand. So you stimulate the hand and the hand moves. You stimulate it again, it moves. Especially it works very well when a person wants to move. If a person in a, for example, virtual environment, they want to catch a fish. In our case, it's a fishing game. You want to catch a fish, there's a fish on your right. You cannot move your hand, but stimulation helps you move your hand. And you want to move your hand, and stimulation helps you move your hand, and your hand moves, and you catch a fish. And you do it hundreds of times. So you're gamifying it, making people do a lot of repetitions, which you need to do in order to recover. You stimulate your muscle, which is weak because you cannot really move it, so it becomes stronger. It's when the stimulation activates your muscle, the signal is sent back up to your nervous pathway, up into your brain. So this nervous pathway becomes stronger, and overall, people recover better. So that's our hypothesis, and that's how stimulation works. We connect it with virtual reality or with gamification or with mobile apps that allow people to do it much more often with more engagement and thus recover faster.
And how has the feedback been for some of the programs that you've get these people to go through, and like has that sort of resulted in sort of measurable impact in helping these people recover?
So we just finished on 30th of April. We just finished a feasibility clinical study supported by Innovate UK, as Anna mentioned already, in collaboration with Guy's and St Thomas's Hospital, King's College London, and Helps Rehabilitation. It's one of the largest private neuro-rehabilitation clinics in the UK. We've tested 27 patients who recover from stroke. So they're from 3 months to several years after stroke. They cannot really move their hand very well, and they used our technology for half an hour. So in order to recover, you need to use it for several weeks, between 3 and 6 weeks. So we cannot really say that this technology really helped them, but because it's a feasibility, it's essentially studied. It allows you to see if this technology can be acceptable by patients. So, and we had very high acceptability scores, acceptability and enjoyability as well of our tech. So people from very low mobility who really struggle in moving to people who already have a lot of movement, all of them liked our tech. So our next step would be to go back to the same patients, give them our tech for 3 to 6 weeks, and see how they improve. But there's nothing prohibits them from improving using our technology, because we know that stimulation works on its own, and virtual reality and repetitions work on its own. So we're just combining them. We're combining them and connecting the movement and stimulation as well. So we're trying to not just connect them and say one and another, but we're multiplying the efficiency. That's our hypothesis. We hope it will work. And so our next clinical study, we hope, will show that.
And you think like in the future it will be mostly in the hospitals or like even like for private? So where you think you're gonna
This is a very good question
employ it?
about
Like,
market access. Like, how do we see the future? Ideally, maybe I didn't start with a problem, but we have around, in the UK, we have around 100,000 people who have stroke every year. And we have around 1.4 million of stroke survivors in the UK already. And probably half of them need recovery. They have not yet recovered fully. And half of them have problems with their hand movement. So they cannot really button their shirt or tie their shoelaces or hold a carrier bag when they're going to the shop or something. So a lot of people every year struggle with this, and there's not enough therapists. There's not enough therapists, not enough therapy. So people don't recover as much as they could. In order for them to recover, they need to do it at home. And with a 10-year NHS plan, the idea is to move from hospital to community. So there's a big push from the government as well, how people can do the same things that they used to do in hospital at homes. And our tech will allow them to do that. So if you have the either headset or it's AR glasses, and our simple to use device, they use it at home 1 hour a day to recover this movement. So ideally, in the future, we want them to have that at homes, but we start with private clinics, and from private clinics we go to hospitals, to NHS, and then from NHS then we go to homes.
So do you see this technology being used just primarily for sort of these medical purposes or, rehabilitation? Or do you also see sort of any application in more sort of, I guess, more intense physical activity? Because I know there is, I guess, some interest in the area of using XR for more sort of a merge between like physical and digital experiences or like activities, for example, like Peloton that allows you to simulate, um, you know, racing bikes with other peers across the world. Do you see any application in that kind of area as well?
We have an app already. We have an app called Air Training that works with our neuromuscular stimulation armbands, airbands. It's on MetaQuest. Everyone can download that. Everyone can play fitness either without our airbands or buy our airbands and use it for fitness. So it's very high intensity, amazing classes. I use it myself, like from 5 minutes to 25 minutes. You do your usual, it's like similar to FitXR, but with additional stimulation, which activates your muscles and trains your muscles. So we did another study on fitness applications of our technology. We had very good feedback as well, and some possibility of muscle adaptation, so muscle strengthening from our tech. This we already have. It's already kind of one path that's passively generating some revenue. We can't really push it forward too much because we're focusing so much on medical field. We're a small company. However, another thing, we're opening our airbands to developers. So anyone who thinks, oh, this is great technology for us to use with our own application, either it's game or it's firefighters training, simulation, or anything else, and they want to use our devices, they can buy our devices. We supply SDK, Unity SDK, and then they can build technology on top of that.
That's actually great because like in this case, it will open up for like more development and different like industries can actually join in. But like from what you've seen so far, what are the most interesting use cases apart from like medical? Because you mentioned the industrial training and firefighters. What else people can do on the merge of like VR and haptics
So
and
currently, most
yeah,
exciting
so
applications are still in therapy, still in physiotherapy. So we had some developers who bought our devices, Get SDK, and used it with 3D camera, for example, not with VR, but 3D camera, which knows where you are in space, knows your objects around, and if you move your hand towards an object, it helps you grab the object, for example. So essentially, imagine if you're stroke patients and you go to your door and you can grab the door, but cameras know where you are and it helps you navigate your own room. It's really accessibility device. It becomes an accessibility device. It helps your activities of daily living, which is amazing. So there's potential, still a lot of potentials in therapy where you can. Another thing is you combine stimulation with some other devices. For example, you want to move or walk faster or cycle if you are paralyzed. And when you cycle, the bicycle knows where your legs are, and based on your position, it can stimulate your legs in order to help you move your legs. So in therapy, that's I think from my perspective, more exciting applications. But of course, there's a lot of application in gaming, and I know you can get the Excalibur sword and you feel it in your muscles because it's magic. There's exactly, there's a lot of potential.
Thor's
Yeah.
Thor's
Thor's
hammer,
hammer.
exactly.
What was that?
We have a
Just like
demo scene where you can climb, and when you climb, you have stimulation in your biceps and triceps, and it gives you visceral sensations of climbing because in VR you cannot really feel anything. Or there's shooting, and you feel recoil in your muscles, like almost like with a real gun. Then there's what else do we have? We have a bow and arrow. Bow and arrow is very nice as well. When you pull, your muscles pull as well. So there's a lot of different applications that you can, in principle, use to activate your muscles.
even athletes, maybe. So just when they're preparing for some kind of like race or uh like
Either preparing
running,
for a
let's
race or
say, or
relaxing
I don't
afterwards.
know,
We have a
skiing.
small with meditation
Yeah,
and
relaxing.
stimulation. So when you want to increase your blood flow or kind of relax your muscles, because it's stimulation, it's almost like massage as well. So you can connect massage with relaxing. We have mindfulness meditation with audio experience with stimulation, or you can add video as well. So it's a lot of applications.
Nice. And do you see this as always something paired with a sort of like a VR headset to go with, or can you also use these bands by itself? Like, are they kind of standalone devices by themselves that you can say, I don't know, connect with on your mobile phone or your laptops? Is that
Yeah.
where you're heading, or is that something you support?
Yeah, so we started selling for therapists. Actually, we already started selling airbands with a mobile app. So the VR version for clinics is still in clinical studies. So we're still developing that. Airbands with virtual reality for fitness is out there, so you can use it. And airbands with a mobile app as well, something that you can buy already right now and use it right now. So any connection with any digital experience, that's what our unique proposition is. So that's where our IP is, that's where our patent is, how neuromuscular electrical stimulation can combine with any digital experience.
Thinking just like even some time ago, we were just wondering how to increase the adoption rate for not only like VR headsets or like XR glasses, but like for haptics itself. Do you think it's basically we'll start from the medical and then it just spread around, or also like gaming? Because I think is it the price barrier right now mostly, or it's just we don't really see like, I don't know. There are like good applications actually. Yeah, like you're one of like the cases that it just like shows that it's actually it's not just
Yeah.
for fun. It can
Well,
actually
this is
change
interesting.
someone else's life. Yeah.
That's our kind of business decisions of what to do with it. We started with developing this technology, and then we're saying, okay, you can then. We started as a developer toolkit. So we have devices now. You can use it for anything. So we created a demo. Fitness was our demo, and then we were showing a fitness, and then we developed it so much that it became its own product. Because no one developed. We had all the know-how. We just built it in order to show the demo, and then we wanted people to like it, so we had to build the whole software. And then after that, we're like, okay, maybe let's build something else to show that it can work in some other direction, and we had to build it again. So we wanted people to come and take it, and sometimes there are R&D departments that can take and build some small demo, but then either they will go and commercialize it because we want scale, right? As a startup, we want to sell thousands of devices. So sometimes those R&D departments, they can sell 2 or 3 or build small experiences, but no one yet had the scale that we really wanted. So we had to build ourselves. There are a lot of possibilities. So I think you have several questions. One of what's the adoption barriers. Price can be, but not always. Sometimes it's sometimes people think, oh, if it's our device costs £300, it's relatively cheap. 2 devices for right and left arm, and you buy it for £300. But a lot of people, but you know that XR headset costs £400, right? And XR headset has all the possibilities that Meta invested their billions in, right? We didn't have those billions, so we cannot really build all those experiences around. But if we had opportunity of just getting this device, connecting it with Meta headset, and all the experiences on Meta headset work with our devices, that would have been great. We cannot do that because Meta is not allowing us to. They're not opening their backend for us. They can open it for some other haptics, for vibration haptic devices, but not for ours because ours is so unconventional, slightly different. It's not just vibration, it's much more complex. It has a lot of different types of sensations depending on where you put it. Different people perceive it slightly differently. Very difficult to design, and so they didn't want to open it as we wanted. So the kind of the scaling is much bigger barrier. How to have this device and straight away go into all the experiences, and this is one of the barriers. Another barrier is to prove, so essentially proving the value. So when you, okay, this device costs 300 and you can use it for all the games, or this can be used for one game, but this game is amazing because it helps stroke patients recover much faster. It's you find compromise. In which direction do you go? We go into stroke recovery. There are other companies like our suit from Spain. They decided to do the scale. There's Tesla suit that use as well electrical stimulation. They go specifically for all the R&D departments out there. All of us have different business models, and some of them work better, some of them work worse.
I'm actually curious as well. Like, as you say, you're still in a fairly, I guess, developing a device that's still fairly niche or not, maybe well understood by a majority of the public. But like in this space, is there any other kind of other interesting hardware projects that you think also has potential, like to maybe further develop the sort of the hardware, the physical, and immersive space together?
So all the tracking devices, they're great. So of course, a lot of people started with gloves and they have amazing quality of glove movement. Then Quest came with the cameras that tell you that you don't need gloves, and a lot of people who were using gloves before, they said, okay, we're not competitive anymore. Still gloves are useful for some applications, for cinema, for games when you want to record very fine movement. Just the full body tracking is very interesting as well. Sometimes you need hardware, sometimes you can work without hardware. This is one channel. Haptics is interesting because there are different types of haptics. There are haptics, they're just vibrational haptics, which is useful for some simple applications. Even controllers with vibrations are already kind of good for it's every game now needs to have some vibrations in your controllers because it just basic. You need to have that. Without the haptics, you just don't feel this connection with objects that you're interacting with. But then with vibrational haptics, there's only a certain limit that you can get to. So you can put a vest which vibrates in different parts if you get hit by a gun, and it's used very well in location-based entertainment. So Haptics is one of the best companies that works with haptics, with haptics vests. Very good company. I know the CEO is a great guy from Korea, and they used for a lot of location-based entertainment, Squid Game or any other experiences. Yeah, they're great. But then what's most interesting for me as well is how to actively interact with objects. So when you grab the object, it's not just you tracking your fingers and you have it. There's so much happening. I have my niece is 3 years old. You can see that how she struggles with some of the objects because she's still learning how to have this feedback between touching and grabbing. So forces, and you get feedback. This is so many things happening at the same time on your fingers, in your muscles, everywhere, in your brain and your spinal cord. This is active touch, and this is so difficult to create, but it is very, very interesting. And how would you really replicate those forces and sensations from the real world into VR? This is a complex problem, and there's some people with robotics systems that's solving it very, very well. There's kind of kinesthetic, more robotic systems that give you very nice sensations for 2 fingers or 3 fingers. They're all very expensive machinery, 20,000 to 100,000. Maybe Haptics. There was a company which was recently acquired by a big industrial firm. But it's a problem. You have either very complex system which is very, very expensive and only can work for one industrial application, or you have a very cheap system which is vibration, which is nice for gaming, but then that's it. And there's nothing really. There are some things in between, but like, where would you go there? Who is coming? Who is the new player? We want, us at Valkyrie, we want to get you a sensation of weight. There's Sense Glove. They kind of give you some sensations of grabbing of objects. They're a Dutch company. They're a very good company as well. So in haptics, there's a lot of companies that are trying to find these value points where companies are happy, or customers are happy to pay this amount for this amount of R&D. So that's haptics, and there's a lot of other hardware devices, but I don't know, maybe we don't have enough time to talk about all the others.
But I think I'm really curious about, do you have any hopes and predictions for the future of immersive tech and haptics in particular? Do you think it will be more like in Ready Player One, when we actually put the full suit and just kind of upload ourselves in the virtual world, or we'll be we'll be wearing some haptics to record some of the signals so the robotics can actually use it in terms of and it will be a different type of job. So we're just when you're kind of teaching the robot how to grab an egg or a strawberry without squashing, or I don't know.
From virtual reality perspective, it's interesting that the biggest companies are going into glasses because you want a form factor of your own glasses. You don't want to have anything bigger on your head. Yeah, exactly. So that's where we're going, and we want to actually remove. We want to have the same thing as we wear, just something on top, and nothing more complex than that. People don't want to go to walk on the street with something more cumbersome. The different ways of input systems. So how do you control these experiences? This is very interesting. So whether you control it from talking to it, or you're controlling from your small finger movement, like with the Meta neural band, or you control it by maybe thinking about it, because you can think, or sub-vocalizing and get some muscle from your face and get it back into the
I think
tongue.
someone
Yeah,
tried
yeah.
to use the tongue or something.
I
Was
know.
it
Yeah, I
like
know one
there's some
company
yeah.
that does that. Yeah, you have like a sensor on your top of your mouth, and then you just move your tongue around that. Yeah, there's a lot of different things of these input systems, how to control your spatial computing devices. This is very interesting future. Um, on the other side, you talked about controlling robots. Yeah, you can control robots, control drones with virtual reality headset, and there you might get into haptics as well, because getting feedback is very, very, very important. But then then it's interesting, if you're controlling a drone, then like what do you want? What sort of sensations of a drone do you want to turn back into haptics, into touch? That's interesting. Is it just vibration or something else? There's interesting. How do you translate from something into touch? That's a very open question. Anyone can choose whatever they do. And then the third track is, I was thinking recently about presence. So one of the directions where both Apple Vision Pro and Quest headsets were working towards is how to create the face of a person in front of you, right? So you are like, I'm not looking at you in 2D, I'm looking at you in 3D, and you see your faces, and I see all your facial expressions. This is kind of getting there, but then the whole presence is still so far away. So I walk in Berlin, and like, oh, there's the air, I can smell something. I walk and I touch the ground. There's so many different things that's out there that either needs new devices. You put something on your leg, you put something on your face, you put something on your nose, or you put something in your brain directly. And it feels like sometimes it's potentially easier to just directly connect to the brain through brain-computer interfaces to get this full sensations that we sometimes want from presence. So I think brain-computer interfaces, it's a very good direction.
So you think we are going to Matrix? Sorry.
So something like Neuralink.
So do you think like we will upload ourselves to Matrix without anyone us forcing? Like no robots forcing us. It's just like we just want more experiences. Like what it will feel like to be near, I don't know, supernova or like a black hole, just like, but in a safe way. Okay.
So I think, well, this conversation has been great, but unfortunately we're coming too close to the end of time. So I'd like to leave maybe the last minute for yourself, Ivan, maybe to share any last words with our listeners, or if you have, or if people have any kind of questions and they want to reach out or learn more about what you're doing, where can they find you, and sort of what's the best way to reach out?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. It's an absolute pleasure. Maybe something I didn't say. One thing about presence that's very much connected to embodiment, and all the extended reality technologies are really working with human body, and that's what really excites me. So that's why I work in motor recovery specifically, or in fitness, where virtual reality or extended reality helps you. It knows where you are in space. It knows what things are around you, and this connection between you, your body, and virtual or real object. This is something that you can really work on and do a lot of very interesting things. So this is, we can work for another 50, 100 years in this direction as well, to really work on the body. And even though, Anna, you said about uploading your consciousness, still, we developed with our body throughout all the billions of years. So this is still very important. And I think we can learn a lot from body, and we can work a lot with the body, whether digitally or in real world. So I think this is still something that excites me. Embodiment, that's where XR really shines, and that's what I'm prepared to continue working on. As for us, so yeah, we are Valkyrie Industries. You can find all the information on our website, valkyrie-vr.com. You can buy our devices there. Airbands, I can offer actually a 15% discount for the listeners of the podcast. So if anyone wants to buy them, please do. We sell in the UK and in Europe. You can download your virtual reality app. You can download mobile apps, and or let us know. And if you want to develop any immersive experiences with airbands or neuromuscular electrical stimulation, we'll be very happy to work with you. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for joining us. And we will include all of the links into the description so people can just click on that and connect to you. But yeah, if anyone has any ideas how to, like any additional applications, please reach out to Ivan, and hopes everything will go
Amazing.
smoothly with additional projects for
Thank you
you.
very much, Anna. Thank you,
Awesome.
Brian.
And
Thank you.
yeah, and thank you to all our listeners who stay up to this point, and have a great day. Bye.